Hi, good morning, students. Welcome to English class. My name is Uriel. So, in this video, I talk about the simple present affirmative form. Uh, I teach you this topic. Okay. So, I'm going to start with the explain. If you have any doubt, let me know in the classroom. Okay. So, you wonder that what is the simple present? Okay. The simple present tense indicates which happened in the present, but is not necessary for action to happen right now. So the simple present tense indicates habits, general truth that frequently occurring events. For example, in the case habits, I study English every day. I study English every day. This is an example that habits. Okay, the structure is the subject plus verb plus complement and plus time expressions. The expression is optional, okay? And what is the time expressions? The time expressions are short phrases that tell us when in a timeline, an option of simple present. They tell us the frequency with which you do something, okay? For example, you can use every day, every month, every year, on Mondays, in the morning, at night. Okay, this is are some examples that time expressions in simple presence. Okay, for example, in simple present you can change the time expressions. For example, in this case, I study English every day. In this sentence, I use every day, but you can change every day for every month. For example, I study English every month. I study English every year. I study English on Mondays. I study English in the morning. I study English at the night. Okay, you can change the time expressions according to the situation. Okay, or according to the habits. Another example, we use simple present when I talk about always true facts. For example, the sun rises in the east. The sun rises in the east. The east. The structure is the subject plus verb plus complement. Okay, this sentence is a true fact. Okay, the first rows of the simple present with the letter S in the verbs is when the verbs that end in J in the third person singular, the letter J changes to IOS. Okay? For example, the verb fly in the third person changes and flyers. For example, I fly, you fly. And in the third person, the verb changes to letter J and add is. For example, he flies, she flies, I flies. Okay, this is the third person. Remember that the third person is he, she, and it. Okay. Mm, this role is exception when a vowel precedes the letter J. For example, play, players, pray, prays. Okay. In the third person singular, the verb always ends in else. For example, I play, you play, and in the third person, the verb add letter else. He plays, she plays, it plays. Okay. And another one is we play, they play. Okay. Another one rules in the simple present is we add else to the verbs that end in double s, x, or ch. For example, the verb pass, you add else passes. Okay. The another one in, for example, in this case, he pays, she pays, it pays. Okay. Another one is the verb catch. The verb catch, you add else. For example, catch. He catch, she catch, it catch. Okay? And another one is the verb that end in x. Okay? For example, he fix, she fix, it fix. Okay? You add else. Another topic that I explained in this video is simple past in affirmative form. Okay, simple past. We use the simple past when we talk about a past and a finished action at a certain moment or a period in the past. Okay, in this the simple past, we talk about when I finished the activity in the past. Okay, for example, I visited my mother yesterday. I visited my mother yesterday. Another example, I went to Canada last week. Okay, mm, in this sentence, you can use the subjects. For example, I visited my mother yesterday. You visit my mother yesterday. She visited my mother yesterday. It visited my mother yesterday. We visit my yes, mother yesterday. They visit my mother yesterday. Okay. And the another example is the same. I went to Canada last week. You went to Canada last week. He went to Canada last week. She went to Canada last week. And we went to Canada last week. They went to Canada last week. Okay, so the structure is the subject plus verb in past plus complement and plus the time expressions. Okay, in this case, in simple past, the time expression is different. Okay, the time expression are short phrases that tell us when in a timeline an action in past. In this case, is in a past. Okay. For example, you can use yesterday, last Friday, last week, last month, and last year. These are some example the time expression in simple past. Okay. For example, in this case, you can say I visited my mother yesterday, or I visited my mother last Friday. I visited my mother last week. I visited my mother last week. Okay. And another example, I went to Canada last week is the same. Okay. You can say I went to Canada last week, or I went to Canada last year. I went to Canada yesterday. Okay. Depending according to the situation. Okay. The verbs in the simple present mm, divide in two verbs. Okay. For example, regular verbs and irregular verbs. Okay. First, I explain the regular verbs. Okay. In the affirmative verb, the regular verbs, you you add or d if the verb ends in e. For example, the verb visit, the regular verb is visit. The another example is talk. Okay. And the regular verb is talk. Okay, talk. You add, you add it. Okay. For example, I visit my mother yesterday. I visit my mother yesterday. This is a regular verb when the verb ends with ed. Okay. I visit my mother yesterday. You can say you visit my mother yesterday. He visited my mother yesterday. She visited my mother yesterday. It visited my mother yesterday. We visit my mother yesterday. Or they visit my mother yesterday. The verb is the same for the subjects. Okay. I visit, you visit, he visit, she visit, it visit, we visit, they visit. Okay. In this case, in the simple past, the verb is the same for the all subjects. Okay. Another is irregular verbs. In the simple past, is the regular verbs. The regular verbs need to be learned because it's most difficult that the regular verbs. Okay. They are in the list you can find in your grammar books. Okay, for example, go, the irregular verb is went. Another one is write, the irregular verbs is wrote. Okay, this verb change out. Okay, for example, I went to Canada last week. I went to Canada last week. This verb change out. Okay, or you can say you went to Canada last week, he went to Canada last week, she went to Canada last week, it went to Canada last week, we went to Canada last week, or they went to Canada last week. Okay, in this part I talk about the difference between simple present and simple past. For example, in simple present I talk about the habits. The habits are always through facts, preference, and routines. Okay, and another in the simple past, we talk about the activities in past. Okay, Mm, so another one difference is the use of the verbs. For example, in simple present, in the third person in singular, he, she, and it, the verb add letter S. Okay, depending to the rules. And the simple past, the verbs divide into verbs, regular verbs and irregular verbs. For example, the regular verbs is the end with ed, while the irregular verbs is the verb is different, all difference. Okay, another difference with simple present is the time expressions. In the time expressions, you can use every day, every month, every year, on Mondays, in the morning, at night, okay? According to the situation in simple present, okay? Re- and the simple past, the time expression you can use yesterday, last Friday, last week, last month, last year, okay? According to the activity in past, okay? According to the situation in past, okay? This is the difference between simple present and simple past. Okay, so that's all for this video. Thanks for watching and see you the next video. Okay, thank you.